What's up, everybody? Answers by Guess, Week 13. Playoff pushes for a lot of you guys. So, we got a lot of people on our page, but not a lot of views on the videos. I'm kind of wondering what's the point, Rob?
I know. I'm kind of thinking the same thing, man. Not a lot of views, but I know I enjoy talking about it. Maybe we can come up with some different ideas as far as maybe shorter videos, clips, things of just quick answers, more conversations. Want to hear from you guys, though, to tell us what we want to do, as far as going forward.
Yeah, and I don't mean what's the point of us doing it. I mean, what's the point of liking the page if you're not going to, take advantage of all the answers that we're giving you each and every week? A lot of people still not even, they're struggling with the simplest of questions and things that are just flat out there. And we're answering things that go well beyond those. So, I mean, if you got a simple little question, I mean, this is the place you need to be. Hopefully we get a lot of views this week and you start telling your friends, because at this point, unless they're in the playoffs, they can't hurt you by telling your friends. We'll get more people in here next year. Yeah, I think that's what it is. People are like, ooh, this little thing here, little answers by Guess, Rob, and Guess.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care with anybody. I don't want to tell anybody what I'm doing. They're a bunch of greenies.
That's a secret. I love it.
Bunch of greenies.
Yeah. Hey, if it's going to win the football games, man, let's do it. All right, man. Week 13. I can't believe it, man. The playoff push. I know I'm in a playoff push in pretty much all my leagues. I think I hit maybe one playoff so far, shooting in that third, fourth, fifth spot. But yeah, let's talk about Thursday night. Washington at Dallas. Washington played the Giants last week and won. I don't think that's a big surprise. I called Jameson. I told you he was going to have a game. I called Jameson.
Yeah, man, he's not fair.
Yeah, man. And Dallas looked atrocious. I mean, they suck without Zeke, without Sean Lee. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Dak can't take that team to where it's supposed to be going. But a division game. I'm nervous about playing Dez. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, as far as this game goes, I mean, your Redskins, you're going to play Cousins and like it because that Dallas defense just looks terrible. You're going to keep playing Crowder. The dude's on fire, and should have never dropped him in one of my dynasty leagues, but I had to make a roster move. I needed a running back at the time. My wide receivers were killing it, but I could use him now. Still in first, though. And Pirine, I'm going to roll Pirine out there again this week. I feel very comfortable with him. I mean, 100 yards plus in 2 straight games. He's getting all the work to himself. Byron Marshall was supposed to be the third down guy, but we saw Pirine in there, probably 50% of the third down snaps, too, and he's killing it. Yep. So those 3 guys, I mean, there's talk, I'm not sure if it's 100%, but Jordan Reed will be back. I'm not going to touch him. I'm not going to touch Big Baby Vern. Doxson, I guess he's a dart throw. You really want your playoff hopes to ride on him. Flip side, Dallas. I thought last week would be the week. I thought that Dak would get it together without Zeke. It doesn't look like he's able to do it. But I'm still holding out hope for him. I'm in 4 of my 7 leagues. I'm in first place. 3 of them I'm eliminated. So it's kind of like boom or bust there. And one of the leagues, Dynasty League, I got Dak as one of my 4 quarterbacks in a Superflex where you can start 2 quarterbacks. And I keep trotting Dak out there. I keep winning. Snuck it out last week. I wouldn't bench Dak this week. You had a question for me earlier about Dak and should a guy pick up Winston, and all the other guys, Hundley and Bortles and everybody out on the wire.
Garoppolo out there, a lot of Trubisky, and a bunch of players.
And I told you to tell the guy, go ahead and pick up Winston.
Yep.
But I just feel like this is going to be a game where Dak, does okay. But I felt like that last week too, and I'm going to keep going to the well one time. But I guess here's your first this guy or that guy type of thing for this week. Winston or Dak, I'll roll with Winston because they're playing against the Swiss cheese Packers. And you said you're nervous about Dez. I'd be a little nervous too.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Big week, especially week 13, a Thursday night game coming off of a poor performance. I mean, he had less than 40 yards. He was only targeted 5 times. Who else should they go into? Like, that's who I would be going to. But
yeah, I really don't get it.
You know?
I mean, they got to figure something out because, I mean, they're pretty much out of the playoffs. This is a game they want to win. This is kind of the Super Bowl for both these teams. You win and you got a little bit of a shot. You lose and you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
I mean, if Dak doesn't do it this week and you get into the playoffs with him, I don't think I'd play him the rest of the year.
Yeah, people are talking about dropping him, man.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, let's go on to the next game there, sir. Minnesota at Atlanta. Very intriguing game, man. Minnesota looking like a Super Bowl caliber team. Atlanta looking kind of the same, you know, second part of the season, been playing real well. Freeman back, saw him practicing. Let's go on who you're thinking. Thielen Diggs, you called Thielen last week. And as far as Atlanta, do I start Sanu so he throws me another touchdown? No, I'm just joking. But Sanu, you know, obviously Julio.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to throw another one this week. Just because, I mean, it's going to be Rhodes guarding Julio. And I actually, if somebody said you play Julio or Sanu, I'd probably play Sanu. I mean, over him. You remember last year, you and I, we were in Atlantic City. Julio had 300 receiving yards against me. I like it was over as soon as that 1 o'clock games. Like I had no shot. And then I believe the next week he pretty much laid an egg. Didn't do anything.
True.
I can easily see the same sort of thing happening here. Minnesota's going to take Julio out. Sanu's a solid play. I kind of like Taylor Gabriel this week. It's a little bit of a sleeper.
Okay.
Think about how you're going to beat this tough Minnesota defense. You're going to need to draw up some plays with a little speedster to catch the ball and run with it, try and run with it in space. So I like him, I like Sanu. I think Austin Hooper could be a good play this week as well. On the flip side, I think Kyle Rudolph, the same exact thing. Atlanta's pretty good against the tight ends, but I would feel safe rolling Rudolph out there. I mean, you got this far with him. Hopefully, you know, you're dealing with him and not like another type of guy. Here's another type of situation. I kind of fell off with Austin's Ferris Jenkins. So if it's like him or Rudolph or him or Hooper, like I would play Hooper or Rudolph over a guy like that.
Okay.
Thielen and Diggs, I mean, the Atlanta defense is good, but you got to think that the Atlanta offense is really starting to click. So I think that they're going to be able to score some points. They'll get into the 20s at least. Minnesota usually holds teams a little less than that. Detroit scored a little bit more last week, but that game wasn't really as close as the final score said. But
correct.
I think that Minnesota's going to have to do something this week. I kind of like McKinnon in this one. It's been Latavius Murray for 2 or 3 weeks in a row now. People are starting to play him. They're like, you know, should I play Latavius Murray or should I play? I mean, it's not as crazy as Le'Veon Bell, but they're throwing out some big names there, and it's like, really? Like, yeah, he's done pretty well, but I see Minnesota having to throw it a little bit more. So I like McKinnon, Rudolph. I wouldn't bench Thielen. I mean, ride his fire.
All right, sweet deal, man.
I'd play him over Diggs if it was between the two. I'm doing it this week.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, Thielen he's a target monster. I mean, he loves going to him. It's just, we call it like a Jordy Nelson, which we'll get to Jordy Nelson later.
Yeah, well, my dud for this game is Julio.
All right. Interesting.
They're going to lock him up. They're going to lock him up. Atlanta's going to have to win without Julio.
I mean, yeah, but getting Freeman back, does that help? That's a big question, too.
Yeah, and you know, and this will give Coleman a few more chances to catch the little balls because they'll be a little bit more fresh. So I like both those running backs as well. I like the little short pass-catching guys this game. I mean, Thielen goes a little bit downfield, but he's not like a Diggs, you know, more of a possession. That's the type of game I see this one being.
All right, sweet deal, man. Let's go on to the next one, man. New England at Buffalo. Patriots just look like the Patriots again. They didn't let the Patriots in the first couple weeks of the season. Bye week came, and it's just been a totally different team since then. I think you play everybody on the Patriots, to be honest with you. And Buffalo, not a great game last week, but Tyrod Taylor, the hero almost in a way, coming back. I think obviously McCoy. Let's see what happens with him. I think you start him too. What are you thinking?
Yeah, a few interesting calls in this one for you guys. I think this is a game where the Patriots dink and dunk and run the ball as much as possible. Burkhead, Dion Lewis, get them in your lineup. James White's fallen out of favor, but I would not be surprised if he gets a little extra burn in this game. Hogan's still not back. Amendola's still a little banged up. Cooks has been doing his thing. Gronk had an okay week last week as well. Pretty good week. But I think this is a Patriots running back type week. I was correct when I called that a few weeks ago. I've been correct when I was talking about Cooks these past few weeks. I think that it is going to be that type of game. I look for Burkhead and Lewis to have good games, and I think that Patriots defense, man, they've come almost full circle. As far as the Bills go, I think that Patriots defense is going to 100% say, Tyrod Taylor, you can beat us if you want to. We are going to stop LaShawn McCoy. I think they're going to do everything in their power to stop LaShawn McCoy. If you look at like DFS, the rankings and how they do it with the salaries of how much guys cost, Tom Brady's like number one, and LaShawn McCoy is in the top 3 or 4, probably 2 or 3. I would not play either of those two guys if I'm doing DFS, because I just don't think Brady's going to throw the ball much deep downfield. And I think that the Patriots defense is going to do enough the game's in Buffalo. Buffalo plays tough there. They hate the Patriots, but I think they're going to do enough to stop McCoy and make Tyrod beat them. So I like Zay Jones in this one. He's going to have to deal with Butler, but he's been coming on strong. Yeah, man. So, I like Zay Jones in this.
Benjamin's doubtful, just to give you a heads up, too. So,
yeah. I throw a dart at Zay Jones or maybe as a wide receiver 4 or a flex. But it's the Patriots running backs in this one, really, for me. You're obviously not going to sit Gronk. No. You're probably not going to sit Cooks.
I'm sitting White.
You're probably not. Yeah, you're probably not going to sit McCoy. But, I don't see big games out of those 3 this week. Gotcha. I just don't.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
Did you see that video of Zay Jones where it looks like he's in the Matrix?
I posted that. What the heck?
Was that you that posted that? Dude, I was like, he's either in the Matrix or the best dancer ever.
How did that happen?
I have no clue how that happened, but...
What?
Yeah, crazy, man. If you haven't seen that video, go check out that video.
Oh, my gosh. Seriously, you need to watch the video of Zay Jones diving to make a catch out of bounds in the end zone and then just coming off of his feet like...
It was crazy. He took the what? Blue pill? Red pill? I don't remember which one sends you there. But...
Purple pill, man. That was a purple pill.
All right, let's go on to the next one, man. San Francisco at Chicago. Yeah, I don't know what you talk about here. Throw me some names.
Garoppolo looks pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You know what? I'm sorry. Yeah, Garoppolo did look good. Threw a touchdown, 2 and 2, 2 for 2.
Yeah. He looked pretty good. You could certainly do worse. But you're going against the Bears, and it's not his first start. It's not like you can't say like his first start. It's not his first start. He played on much better team. So it's his first start with the 49ers. The Chicago defense, they're pretty solid. I think the Bears next year, I think they're going to be all right. I think if they draft a stud wide receiver, they got 2 solid running backs. The tight end, Sheehan, he's pretty good. I think Trubisky is just only going to get better. He looks good enough once they let him throw the ball. He's got wheels. Inman, if they keep Inman there for another year or two, they got a slew of wide receiver 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. So if they draft a stud, like first, their defense is good enough. Their offensive line is pretty good. They need to draft. They're going to be in the top 10, a top 10 wide receiver, top 5 wide receiver. The Bears will be pretty good next year. This game might be able to showcase some of those talents because they're going against the 49ers. So I really like Jordan Howard. I like Cohen. I like Sheehan if I have to play a tight end. He's not quite my sneak of the week this week, but he's number 2 or 3 on the sneak list.
I put a half. Put him on the half list.
Half a sneak. Yeah, I mean, he didn't do great last week.
I've seen it being a high-scoring game, though, to be honest with you, man. I see these guys actually, their defenses are, I mean, Chicago's defense is good, but Garoppolo's not a bad quarterback, man. You see, I think this opens up a lot of eyes, we'll say. I can see Goodwin having a good game, too. If Garoppolo can catch him deep, because I don't think you can overthrow that guy, man.
The problem is what else do the 49ers have?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
I mean, you got Hyde, but, like, what else you got?
Yeah.
Like, if they take Goodwin out, I mean, who's he throwing to?
Kittle. I'm throwing names out there.
They're another team. I mean, they're okay. They should draft some defense, and they need a stud wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really simple. They've got good enough running backs. I mean, Matt Breida was a hot name earlier in the season. If Hyde sticks around, and they got a couple other guys, they're okay.
Yeah.
They got their quarterback now. Draft a wide receiver, give them some people to throw to. This is like the futures game. This is like watching that game before the All-Star game. This is like the AAA players. That's what this game's going to be. And those games are usually probably pretty high scoring because the pitching really isn't as good.
Yeah.
And they hit a lot of home runs because they're not as disciplined. They just swing for the fences. So you're probably right. There's probably a high AAA. It's the AAA All-Stars.
Nice.
It really is.
No, you're right. No, I can definitely understand where you're coming from, man. But let's see what happens, man. I'm thinking high scoring, so I think we're on the same page.
It's 2 teams that are 5 wins or less this year, and
what do they have to lose? I would just start chucking the ball everywhere.
Yeah, you're going to be in top 10 to 15 next year, and you're probably next year we'll have probably 8 wins apiece. Like these are 2 up and coming teams. I think they got. If John Fox leaves, you see that guy with the Firefox sign?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was brilliant.
All right, let's go on to the next one, man. It's the Bays game. Tampa Bay at Green Bay.
Battle of the Bays.
Winston is back. Dougie probably out. What do you think Winston does, man? I got a question about Bray today. Does he play better because Winston's back? Flip side, Green Bay played a really good game, man, against a Steelers team. Hundley, 3 touchdowns. Loves throwing the ball to Devontae Adams. I can see the disappointment in your face, to be honest with you. I'll let you talk about it. Who are you thinking there? Jamal Williams.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, but go on.
Yeah. Green Bay defense lost that game. Their defense is absolutely terrible, and I'll remember that tidbit because I'll come back to it in a minute. Mike McCarthy, what are you doing kicking like a 56-yard field goal? Like, punt the ball. You're playing good defense. You got a 7-point lead. That changed the whole game. And then even in the end, Green Bay had a chance to stop them, and they gave up 2 plays. That's the Swiss cheese defense. Now, about the Green Bay offense, everybody, like, it's just so weird. Like, how can you be... He sucks, and then after one game, like, oh, should I play him? Like, ride stats like this. I'm not buying the Hundley hype. Now, I'm in a 2 QB super flex dynasty league. I picked up Hundley earlier in the year. I had Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I said, thank God I got Hundley. And I'm going to play him again this week. It'll be him and Derek Carr, who I also hate this week. I'll talk about him later, too. But Hundley, 2 touchdowns last week were pretty fluky.
Yeah.
I mean, Randall Cobb was a little screen, he got loose. And then Jamal Williams was a screen, and he got loose. The other one to Devontae Adams, I mean, he was wide open. Like, that was a beautiful play. Yeah. But he still is taking the snap and dropping back 10 yards and not staying in the pocket or moving up. Like, he's not doing what he has to do. Now, they're playing against the Tampa Bay Bucs defense, who's probably a nickel away from as bad as Green Bay is on defense. If Green Bay is like $1 bad, they're like 95 cents bad. You know, like they're really close. So this game could be a high-scoring game, but I wouldn't bank on it either way. I would bank more on Tampa Bay scoring points than Green Bay. Aaron Jones is practicing, but he ain't going to play. Ty Montgomery's practicing. He shouldn't play. Green Bay should pack those two away. See what you got in Jamal Williams the rest of the season. Aaron Rodgers should not come back week 15, even if they win this game, because they're not going to make the playoffs. They got too many teams ahead of them with easier schedules the rest of the way. Green Bay's pretty much got to win out. So it's going to be Hundley. Let Hundley do it. See what he's got. Maybe he goes somewhere else next year. Let Jamal Williams do it. I would play Jamal Williams in this game.
Okay.
Too. I would play him over a slew of guys. Maybe come up with somebody a little bit later for me. But I like what I saw out of him. And I think if they keep giving him the ball that many times, as long as Ty Montgomery's not playing, I will fire up Jamal Williams. Devontae Adams, I'm not sitting him at all. I'm not sitting Cobb. And then you got Jordy. Like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. I mean, he's just not getting targeted. They get 5 targets.
Yeah, I mean, you could see what he can do when you have Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, or even a better quarterback. I don't know why these guys don't look for him. He's just a playmaker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't start him. Put him on the bench. A lot of times you're like, well, I'd rather start a guy and lose because he only got 5 points than not start him and lose because he got 55 on my bench. You know, that type of mentality. But at this point, like Jordy Nelson, you got to have a better option if you made it this far. Put him on the bench. Start Adams. Cobb if you need him. Start Jamal Williams. Flip side, Jameis Winston coming back. Does he help Brate? Probably. The number one play for me this entire week, my number one wide receiver on the board, Mike Evans. Okay. Mike Evans is going to go bananas. Bananas.
Oh, look at that.
He is. He's been waiting to break out. He had almost 2 touchdowns last week. This is the game. Green Bay defense cannot contain him. He's like a foot taller than any of their cornerbacks. And with Winston coming back, he's going to feed him early and often, the same as Fitz was, but even more. I love Mike Evans this week. Doug Martin's probably not going to play. Good. You don't have to make the decision about benching him and thinking this is the week he's going to break out. Because you know what? It probably was. And last week he was running really well before he got concussed, and he probably was going to run all over Green Bay. But this week, I mean, who have I been saying all year? Green Bay can't stop the speedy little running backs. Quiz and, Barber and Sims. Like, they're all kind of the same. Sims is a little more of a meatball, but they're all the kind of speedy little fast pass catchers. So I think that all 3 of them are not startable, but I think all 3 of them will do some damage because Green Bay won't be able to stop them.
Gotcha.
John Jackson might not play, too.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he was, I don't believe he practiced today. He was absent.
Interesting, yeah. I wonder how that's going to go the rest of the week. Big call on Mike Evans. I think I'm in agreement with you, man, to be honest with you. I see Rodgers being picked up everywhere, man. You know what? Yeah. I agree with you. Green Bay isn't going anywhere. Why rush him back? Start again next season with high hopes. Get your defense fixed up a little bit and, go from there. Bringing him back doesn't make sense. But picked up a lot, man, in a lot of leagues.
I hemmed and hawed over the past probably 8 days about picking him up because he was just sitting there, and I'm reading the things. He's throwing the cannons pregame, And I was like, okay, if Green Bay beats Pittsburgh, I'll pick them up.
Gotcha.
But then they lost, and Monday rolls around, and I was like, I'm not going to pick them up because they're so far out of the playoffs. Like, then Tuesday rolls around, and then Chad picked them up, and I was like, good. I was like, let Chad waste a move because I didn't really have anybody to drop, and I got 2 good quarterbacks. So.
Gotcha. All right, let's go on to the next one there, sir.
However, people wondering the same thing. I mean, you could probably do worse if you got somebody like Dak as your only quarterback.
Yeah,
and Rodgers, pick him up if you're in the playoffs. Pretty much, pick him up.
Yeah, man. Big week, man. Week 13. I'm praying. All right, let's go on to the next one, man. Houston at Tennessee. This is a pretty garbage game.
This is a gross game.
I mean, Tennessee, if you think about Mariota not playing great. Yeah, Delaney Walker, I would say, might be the only play on Tennessee right now. Maybe DeMarco Murray. And then Houston, the same thing. You still keep on calling Hopkins, and you're right, man. It doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. That dude is catching anything.
He's incredible.
Yeah, man. And I dropped Fedorowicz. I couldn't deal with him anymore. He had a good game last game, but don't get me wrong. I'm going with RSJ. I'm going with you on that one, bud. We'll talk more about him later, though.
Yeah. Fedorowicz, I kind of like him in this game.
Okay. Damn. Was it too soon?
Not over RSJ. I would have made that move, too. But, I mean, Hopkins, he's going to do what he's got to do. Savage, he's on his last leg. They pretty much told him, like, we got no problem benching you if you still keep something. So, we'll see how he does. I mean, if I was Savage and I wanted to keep my job, I would probably just keep throwing the ball to Hopkins. And Ellington, he's been a nice little scoop in there. I think you have him and Fantasize Me. I got him in a couple Dynasty leagues.
I have him in Dynasty, yeah. I don't have him in I have Fuller still waiting to come back.
I gotta kind of have a feeling like it's gonna be Ellington, Fuller, and Hopkins for the next couple years for them. I think they feel like they're pretty set at wide receiver, especially since they have Deshaun Watson, just waiting for next season.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar Miller, I really don't know. I mean, he's been, aside from the touchdown he got where nobody even touched him, he kind of just walked into the end zone to begin the game. He really didn't do too much. I mean,
I think he had 50-something yards or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, you kind of need more out of a running back. If he doesn't get that easy 3-yard untouched touchdown, you kind of had a terrible week out of him last week. So against Tennessee's defense, who's kind of stinks, but their rush defense is a little better than their pass defense, I think. I would not feel great. I'd play Jamal Williams over Lamar Miller. There you go.
Okay. Good comparison, right? You called it.
Yep. So, Hopkins, I'm not benching him. People say, what if TJ Yates comes in? I saw that because they were talking about the Savage comment that they'll bench him. What? No. Anybody. You don't take him out. Yeah. You don't not play him. It does not matter. He's had terrible QBs his entire career. And you don't just look at last year, which was his worst year as a pro. You look at the year before and the year before. All 4 years, he's had terrible quarterbacks, and he's produced every single year. I mean, as a floor, he's like 5 for 60. As a floor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, that's
I
fine.
take that every week, bro. Every week.
If you're in a PPR, it's 11 points. If you're in a half PPR, it's 8.5, which is not great. But that's a floor. That's a bottom floor. Yeah. Like 5 for 60. Like, I have him in my lineup. There's 8.5 points. That's at least 6 points in a standard league. I'll take that as a starting place.
I agree 100%, man.
I like Ellington this one. I'm not touching any of the Titans. I just hate them. I hate Mariota. He's terrible.
The only play I would have would be Delaney Walker. I mean, he still likes throwing the ball to Delaney Walker. I know he's not the greatest quarterback, but that's his biggest target.
he gets hurt every game, but he doesn't get hurt every game.
It's so weird, right?
You're like, oh, Delaney Walker's hurt again. He got his leg twisted off, and he's back in there. Oh, well, Delaney Walker's back out there. He's a Ken doll or something. They just pop a new leg on the side.
That's funny. But you're right, man. I've seen him on his back. I was like, oh, my leg. He's like, all right, 2 plays later, touchdown.
I'd probably play Jamal Williams over DeMarco Murray as well.
Ooh, that's a big call. Murray's been having a lot of touchdowns, but I can see where you're coming from as far as just the matchup against Tampa Bay.
They got a good rush defense. They got a terrible
defense. Against Tampa Bay, Jamal Williams would make sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next one, man. Denver at Miami. Simeon's back.
Cutler's back.
Cutler's back. So, I don't know, man. I like Williams. I like Drake in this one. Even though Denver's defense is good, their run defense isn't that great anymore, man.
Williams not going to play. It's going to be all Drake.
Ooh, so that even gives more Drake. Okay, gotcha. What do you think of wideouts as far as Miami? And then Denver, does Simeon have a fire lit under him now? Does he really start pushing and this is his job again? Or does he's like, oh well, it's mine again, I guess.
Yeah, I think that Simeon's going to play really well.
Okay.
I do. As soon as he came in the game last week, you saw, a marked difference in the offense. They looked back to their old kind of good ways.
Yeah.
I like Simeon to play pretty well. Miami defense is not great. If Denver can protect him a little bit from Ndamukong Suh and those boys, I think that they'll be okay. I like Manny in this one. I like Demarius in this one. You had a Latimer sighting last week.
You did.
I think he caught like 3 or 4 balls, which was exciting to see. So we'll see. Miami just got A.J. Derby to back up Julius Thomas. Julius Thomas might actually, after you said the comment earlier about your buddy was wondering about tight ends, whatever, and Thomas won the option, I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? It might be a pretty good play. But then Cutler got the call, and, he kind of likes Thomas, but I feel like Cutler's going to try and feed Parker. He really, really likes Parker. And Parker's had a couple really bad games in a row with Matt Moore. I think Cutler's going to be like, I'm going to make you feel better, buddy. And I think he's going to take care of him. I like Landry in this one. I like Parker in this one. And the reason why is because there is no Aqib Talib.
Oh, yeah. Rip the chain off again. That's disrespectful, man.
I know. 2 chains.
That was a weird fight, man. I didn't know what Michael Crabtree was doing. He was like, I'm going to dance move on you. Take the shot. I'm going to dance move on you. Take the shot. It's like, what was that?
He was watching out for the helmet,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was trying to learn from A.J. Green. Cutler's in. He's probably not going to have a great game. He might even get benched or hurt again. But I like the Miami. I'm not going to shy away from the Miami receivers as I normally would. I feel like the Denver defense is going to be shifted and just a little bit off in the secondary. The no-fly zone, they're going to have like a kind of some fly zone. And I think you're going to have pretty decent production. I mean, am I going to play Parker over Landry? No. Because Landry's their possession guy and he's been more consistent. But if I need a home run and I got a flex spot or wide receiver 3, which is like, I don't know, can't think of somebody off the top of my head, but somebody or Devontae Parker, I'm going to go with Devontae Parker. Who?
Like a Paul Richardson?
Oh, definitely over Paul Richardson. Okay. Over Randall Cobb.
Oh, okay.
Randall Cobb going against the Bucs defense or Parker, and I really need a home run, I'm going to go with Parker because I just think Cutler's going to feed him. They're buddies.
They are.
He loves Parker.
Yeah,
and Parker's had 2.5 terrible games in a row, and Cutler's going to make him feel all right. And Drake is your top play in this game because you can't play C.J. Anderson. Booker's coming on, but they're still splitting a little bit. but Drake's your top play in this entire game because he's going to have the entire Miami backfield to himself. He can catch the passes. He can run the rock. He's going to get a ton of work because it still is the Denver pass secondary. So they're not going to want to throw the ball 35 times. They're going to want to throw it 25 to 30 max.
Yeah.
Means they're going to run it 30 times, which means Drake's probably going to get 20 carries and probably 5 catches.
Interesting. But, yeah. I can see that, man. I didn't realize Williams was out, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I shouldn't even be saying this because if anybody is watching this and they play DFS, I put Drake in as he's my sneak of the week.
Ooh,
in DFS. I threw him in the flex spot. He's super cheap. He's like $4,500 for a starting running back. Like usually they're at least $7,500 around there. He's going to be getting every single snap.
Every secrets.
No, but that's what I have to do to help these people. And hopefully they're watching and taking advantage of me.
I'm writing it down. Don't worry. All right, let's go on to the next one, bud. Kansas City at the New York Jets. Kansas City's went from being the best team in football to I lose to the Giants, I lose to the Bills, and I think they're going to lose to the Jets because why not? Jets are not a bad team. Jets make a lot of mistakes, a lot of drop passes. They lose their own games. They were in the game again last week against Carolina. And you know my Jets, I hate to beat them up because they know how to score the ball. It's just their defense and they're just mistakes that they have cost them all the time. Penalties is a big one too. KC, I don't know who to play. Help me. Yeah,
this one's gonna be interesting. Why? Because it's Darrelle Revis going against the Jets. First game back for Kansas City, going against the Jets. I'm not sure where they're going to play him. I would hope they play him at safety. And that, honestly, worries me a little bit about Robbie Anderson. I mean, he's been killing it, and I'm not saying he stinks, but I think that they're going to focus on him a little bit, and I think Revis is aware of Robbie Anderson enough that this could be like a curse type game, you know? Who's the other guy? It's slipping my mind right now.
The rookie.
What's his?
Stewart? Not Stewart.
Who am I thinking of?
Give me 1 second.
Whatever. Safarian Jenkins, you know, going against the Chiefs defense. Their linebackers are solid. They have not been playing well on offense. Their defense has been doing okay, Kansas City's. You know, the knock on Kansas City early in the season, and I said this in a video 1 or 2 or 3 weeks ago, like everybody's saying the Kansas City Chiefs defense sucks. And I was like, what are they talking about? You can go back and watch one of the videos. Like, they're a good defense, and I think they just got better. I think that if Andy Reid goes back to being Andy Reid circa 2016 and not Andy Reid the last 5 weeks, I think that Kansas City could win this and do something significant on offense. But, I mean, you got a running back who hit a little bit of a rookie wall, but you're only giving him the ball 10 to 15 times a game, and you're only giving him 5 carries in the first half the past 2 weeks, and you're running these stupid plays where Alex Smith does a little pitch to Travis Kelce right next to the center. Like, that play worked week 1, and then it worked again week 2. Stop doing it. Yeah. It's stupid. Yeah. Like, why are you doing this? And Tyreek Hill, he's not going to blow up if you're not throwing the ball downfield. Just Alex Smith reverted back to his old ways. Andy Reid turned into, he's not Andy Reid. I mean, he's like the uncle of the West Coast offense, and they're not even running it. They're running stupid gadget plays, and they're not running a running back who could carry them with 20-plus carries a game.
Yeah.
If they go back to that, I think the Jets will be in trouble. If they keep doing, just because I think Kansas City's defense is good enough to take out their number one weapon, Robbie Anderson. If they don't fix their offense, the Chiefs, if they don't fix it, I'm right with you. I think the Jets could win this one. And honestly, this game for me, because I do think Anderson's going to get stymied just a little bit by Revis and the other members of the secondary for the Chiefs. I think that the difference in this game is going to be ASJ. I think he's had 5 or 6 touchdowns the past 4 weeks, like called back, reversed, dropped in the end zone.
Being a Jets fan, do you know how frustrating that is? I mean, I can imagine from a fantasy standpoint, but dude, it's unreal.
Either Stonehand drops it, fumbles it out of the back of the end zone, gets it turned over as not a catch, or gets it called back by a penalty. It's happened each of those ways, some more than once, over the past 4 weeks. So, if he can move faster than a statue, and if he can get his hands a little softer than a statue, I think that they could pull this out, because I think he and Curse, who was the guy I was thinking? Was it Curley?
Ardarius Stewart. Curley's still suspended.
Oh, Stewart.
The rookie.
I'm with you. Ardarius.
Yeah.
What happened to, didn't they have another guy? And not a Nunwa.
They had Jalen Marshall, but I don't know.
What happened to him?
He was suspended and then I think demoted to the practice squad. I liked him. Yeah, he was fast. He reminded me of Santana Moss.
Yes.
That kind of player.
Yes, he was great.
Interesting.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, ASJ, he's a super risky play because he's either going to get 2 touchdowns or he's going to drop 2 touchdowns. That's my prediction of the week.
All right. Let's go on to the next one, man. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Indy's didn't play a great game against Tennessee, but I'm going to say it again. Frank Gore is an ageless wonder. This guy is still putting up numbers for fantasy. I mean, it's amazing. He had another touchdown. It's not big performances, but it's consistency, man. It's mind-blowing. That's my play of the week, to be honest with you. I think Frank Gore, even though they're going against Jacksonville, he's going to have a game, man. And he's going to keep on showing everybody, I'm going to go against the best defense, and I'm going to have a game. Jacksonville, from a wide receiver standpoint, they really don't have. Dede Westbrook's been getting a lot of targets. Marquise Lee should be back this week. Alan Hearns is actually, I think, back this week too, if I'm not mistaken. So, what are you thinking there? And throw me some stuff about Fournette.
I'm going to go right back to the other game real quick because people are all like, it was sort of happening, and now like everybody's jumping ship on Kareem Hunt. What does that mean?
What do you mean?
Everybody's sitting them or dumping them.
He's not producing.
He's not given the opportunity, but if they give him the opportunity and you sat him or dumped him, what happens? He runs for 400 yards. Just like Doug Martin was going to last week before he got concussed.
Yeah.
I think he had 4 carries for 30 yards. Are you kidding me?
You know what's funny is that I was watching the beginning of that game and I was looking because I wanted to see as far as Doug Martin. I don't have him anywhere, but I love him. He's one of my favorite people in the world for some reason. And you're right. It was like 4 carries for like 36 yards or something like that. I'm just like, he called the game. And then all of a sudden I was like, what happened to him?
Yeah, he was going to have 400 yards. I called it. But then they concussed him. That's not fair. And I play Hill and I play Kelsey.
Sorry, okay, yes.
On to this game.
On to this game, please.
Yeah, so the Jags, I like Bortles this week. I mean, if you were in a super pinch, this is the one week to play him, right? Yeah. You're going against the Colts. Their defense is terrible. This is your week. Dede Westbrook, each week just getting a little bit better. Last week, I think he broke 60 yards, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so I like him a lot this week. I'm playing him in DFS as well. He's my 3rd wide receiver because I spent up on a couple other guys, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. So I threw a Dede Westbrook in there cheap because I think he goes over 100 yards and gets at least one, maybe 2 touchdowns this week. D.D. Westbrook, huge breakout week. I like it. You know who else I like? Leonard Fournette. He's going to run for $150 in the first half. The first half, I said it. $150 first half. He's going to mow them over. He's almost back to full strength. So you're getting like a week 1 Leonard Fournette.
That's crazy. 150 in the first half?
In the first half, he's going to mow them down. Nice. So like Bortles, like Westbrook. You got to like Lee just because he's consistent. I'm not touching Allen Hurns. I think Westbrook has won the job from him. He's now the number 2 wide receiver, him and Lee. And, you know, I'm not going to touch Mercedes. It's Fournette, it's D.D., and Bortles if you need them. I would play D.D. Westbrook over Devontae Parker.
Ooh.
I was saying before I would play Devontae over, and now I'm going to sit Devontae for D.D. because I really like D.D. this week. I think against the Colts, this is when he does it.
I got a good one for you then. Yeah. Des Bryant tomorrow against Washington or D.D. Westbrook. Dum dum dum.
Listen, if you gotta hit the home run, I'm gonna go with D.D. because Dak has been playing terrible. Dez is going against Norman. Yeah, he's going to Normandy, man.
That's what makes me think. It's like just because they have that rivalry that they have together, it means do they play well? Does he actually show up this game? Kind of deal. I don't know, man. I do have Dede, and you know how big Week 13 is, man.
Who else you got? You got Thielen and
Alshon Jeffries.
Alshon going against Seattle.
He's questionable, but Seattle's secondary's not there anymore.
Yeah. So, we'll get to that one. But,
we'll get to that one.
But like I said, if you got to hit a home run, it just sucks that it's a Thursday game.
Yeah, and that's why I hate Thursday games, man. But let's continue. Let's go. I'm going to mark this one. That's a question we'll talk about. I'm going to. I think that I thought Westbrook because of what you're saying. He's just getting a lot of targets, man. But I don't know. It's Des Bryant.
Here's what I'm thinking. The Jags are going to score 47 points.
47 points. And you're right. Westbrook has to do something then if they're scoring 47 points.
They're going to have so many turnovers caused by that defense, short fields. They're going to be able to, on offense, run all over these guys. You got to remember, Jacksonville got beat last week. They're a little pissed off. They're a little mad, and they're going to take it out on their division rival. And about Frank Gore, he needs 50 yards to go into number 5 on the all-time list. I think he gets that 50 probably in the first quarter.
Okay, so you're going to agree with me on Gore? Yay!
I think he's going to run the hardest that he's ran all year. Maybe not the first quarter, maybe the first 20 minutes of the game. I'll go 5 minutes into the second quarter. They're going to need 2 or 3 possessions. But I do think that, I think Jacksonville will be a little lenient for Frankie. Not that they're going to let him run, but I think they're going to let him, get his mark, and
then shut him down.
Right. Because if he doesn't get this game, the future's never guaranteed. You know what I mean?
No, I got you, man. Interesting. I think Gore's going to have a game. I think, like you said, he's going to prove a point, and he has this record that he's going for, so he has that on his side definitely.
I think it's 47-7.
47. Give me the touchdown from Gore. I like it. All right, real quick one on the Indianapolis wide receivers. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know who's going to score. T.Y. Hilton can't.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the wideouts, man. What do you do over there?
You can't endorse him anymore, not against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
If they're playing Tampa Bay, I'd be, playing him. This is... you just haven't shown up, and now you're playing Jacksonville. Like, I am not playing you.
Okay.
Not at all.
No Hilton. All right, I agree, man. He's on my bench. All right, let's go to the next game. Detroit at Baltimore. Detroit played a good game against Minnesota. I know you said it was more Minnesota. Don't get me wrong. They came back with him, man. Marvin Jones Jr. 2 touchdowns. Golden Tate did not have a good game. At Baltimore. Baltimore, good Monday night game. Their defense is real, man. Do they stop Staffy? Do they stop everything he's doing? Tell me.
Yeah, I don't like this game from a fantasy perspective. It's tough. It's really tough. You know who I think's probably going to do a little bit better this week than he has? I think Woodhead. I haven't been a believer in Woodhead, but they're using him a little more each week. He flashed on a couple plays last week, but he ended up really not doing that much. But he looked pretty good with what he was doing. And I think that against this Detroit defense, it's kind of softened up a little against the run. I think Woodhead could be a little sneaky play in this one. Collins as well. I absolutely do not like Flacco or Macklin or Wallace in this one. Maybe Wallace gets a deep one, but he's pretty much going to have Slay on him the whole time because nobody even realizes that Jeremy Macklin's even breathing anymore, so they probably won't even worry about him. And as far as for Detroit, yeah, I mean, this Baltimore defense is real. You know what they do? They get, you saw it last Monday, like they get so deep with their penetration on the front line that like they bat down. I think they bat down 3 passes on the same set of downs.
Mind blowing, dude.
And Matt Stafford gets a lot of balls deflected as is. So this could be, very scary for anybody that is riding Stafford out there as their quarterback to try and make a playoff push. He was my guy. He still is. But I'm not starting him this week. He's got easier games down the road. This week is not a good one. It's almost like I wish I could call up the coach and be like, yo, just sit him this game. I need him week 14, 15. You guys aren't going to win. Just sit them, relax. And I actually think Tate has a little bit of a bounce back in this one.
Okay.
Because like I said, Stafford's not going to be able to hold on to the ball too long. He's going to have to get rid of it quick.
Slot guy.
Yeah, the longer he holds on to it, the deeper that Baltimore defensive line is going to penetrate. So he's going to need to get rid of the ball quickly. So I like Tate actually more in this one than I like Marvin Jones. And I like Ebron in this one. Again, okay. He's showing signs of life, man. He's doing something every week.
You were so down on him in the beginning of the year, man, and he has gotten your heart back.
Yeah, yes. Because he actually looks like he cares.
Yeah, he's playing hard, man.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to the next one just because time is not on our side there, bud. Cleveland at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers played really well last week against the Dallas Cowboys. I had never seen somebody so pumped up for a game. Phillip Rivers was. Every 3 seconds, it seemed like. Keenan Allen, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about them, and then who we playing in Cleveland?
Well, you don't like Melvin Gordon again because Cleveland,
I know.
Aside from last week when Joe Mixon just ran all over him, Cleveland stops the run, and I'm beginning to think Melvin Gordon just is not good. I mean, if he's not getting 2 or 3 touchdowns a game close to the goal line, he's not really getting much. And even if you look at the games where he was scoring a ton, he was getting 2 or 3 touchdowns. So that's why his points were so inflated in fantasy. He rips off some runs, but he hasn't done that in a while. Eckler's still there, being a pain in the butt. He gets 5 plays, and every single one of them he gains 20 yards and gets a touchdown on at least one of them.
Yep.
You got Keenan Allen's probably going to have a pretty good game. Other than that, I wouldn't touch anybody. Tyrell Williams had 2 catches last week, 1 for 25, 1 for 27, and a touchdown. It was absolute baloney. But that's the type of garbage stats you're going to get with him. Travis Benjamin, I don't even know if he's breathing. Mike Williams probably isn't going to play. Inman's gone. Hunter Henry is the best play of the week for tight end because why? He's playing the Browns. And the Browns can't guard a tight end. I've been telling you this. So, I mean, Hunter Henry, that's it. Hunter Henry and Keenan Allen.
Sneak of the week?
Hunter Henry's not really a sneak.
Okay.
I got a sneak later on.
Oh, I know who the sneak is.
Yeah, he's not really a sneak, but I'm gonna sneak him in there.
Yeah, right.
The flip side, I mean, I'm gonna if I need a friggin' home run, you know what I'm playing? Josh Gordon.
Ooh, that's right. Gordon's back.
Gordon. If I need a home run, I'm putting him in there. He is going to play so hard, so hard.
Josh Gordon plus 50 yards. Do you think in his debut?
How much?
Plus 50 and about 4 or 5 catches.
50?
50. You think he's going bigger than 50?
Are you kidding me? He's gonna murder that.
Okay. 50 in the first half. I'll change it. How about 50 in the first half?
Listen, when he came back 3 years ago for that like 2 or 3 game stint where he was terrible, I mean, their quarterback situation was terrible, and he still wasn't right. I mean, his mind still was not in the game. That's why he got suspended again after that. Now he's back. His head is in the game. He's focused. Now, granted, he admitted that he used to play high and drunk in college. And that's, you know, high and drunk in the pros when he was going on his big games there 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So maybe he can't play sober, but my God, if I need a home run, I'm putting Josh Gordon in because I have a feeling that Kaiser is just going to chuck it to him and Corey Coleman all day long. I don't think Verrett's going to play. I think he's hurt. So I don't really know who the Chargers are going to cover these 2 guys with. But I like them both. I like them both, and if I need a home run, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see Josh Gordon back, not injured, focused, rested. He's still like 26 years old.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Like,
so much potential he had, and then so many bad issues, and you're right, man. He was a great football player, but you're right. Does it affect him not being now high and drunk while you're playing the game? I mean, it's going to be completely different for him.
So we'll see, but I mean, look, if I need a Hail Mary, I'm throwing him out there this week because it's a good matchup. Chargers have been on fire, which means the Browns will probably have to throw a lot. I like Josh Gordon in this one.
All right. Let's go on to the next one there, bud. The New York Giants at the Oakland Raiders. Biggest news of the week. Eli being benched for Geno Smith. In my opinion, McAdoo needs to go. Maybe even Reese needs to go. I mean, it's kind of... I know you don't like Eli, but that's... You don't do that to the guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He hasn't played great, but what are you giving him out there? At Oakland, who had a win against the Broncos. No Crabtree, suspended because of the fighting happening. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't really like Eli as a player just because I don't really like the Giants, just because I don't really like Giants fans. But, I like him as a person, but in all honesty, like, my reaction to it is, I mean, I don't understand what the big deal is. I mean, yeah, okay, he started all these games in a row, but your team is terrible, your offensive line is terrible, your wide receivers are terrible, your team is terrible, you're not going anywhere good this year. See what you have in Geno Smith. And if you have nothing after a game, maybe 2, then see what you have in Davis Webb. Because if you don't have anything in those 2 guys, you need to address the quarterback position in the draft. There's no sense playing Eli Manning anymore. He's been terrible. It's not like they've cut him. It's not like he's not going to get a paycheck. He's still going to be there. He's still collecting money. He's made over $200 million for them. Like, in my mind, and this is obviously not the majority point of view, but my point of view is he's given the organization, the franchise, 2 Super Bowls. He's given them 210 straight games. Like, that is all great, but they need to think about the future now. He's not going to be a Giant next year. Could they cut him and let him sign with someone? Sure. But, I mean, would that make it any better? I don't know if it would. I mean, but by putting him out there at this stage in his career, behind this offensive line, and with these receivers, you know, who knows what could happen to him? Yeah. They might even be doing him a favor because he's just getting lumped around back there, fumbling the ball, getting smacked in the head. You're like, who knows? Like, I'm not against it, and it's not because I don't like the Giants or because I talk crap about Eli and call him Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs. It's because I think for a business decision, it is the right thing to do. You said to Eli, hey, you can keep your streak going. We'll let you start. And, and he said, very noble thing. Well, that's not the way that the streak should be. It's not, there's no integrity in that. And that was, that's admirable. The only thing that would make probably Giants fans feel better is cut him and let him go play somewhere else. Maybe he can play for the Green Bay Packers and get killed by their offensive line. Like, I don't know. I don't hate it. Geno Smith, 2 years ago, week 17, killed it. Then he was hurt, came back for one game, played week 8, killed it. Then he got hurt again. Then he was going to be the starter, 2016. Then he got punched in the jaw, broke his jaw, and never got the job back because Fitzpatrick ran with it. Like, this is a shot. If anything, I'm happy that Geno Smith finally gets one more shot to have an NFL career. We should not be, I don't think people should be looking at this as, oh, how dare McAdoo. Like, he's an idiot. I'm not going to say he's not, but how dare he and how dare Reese and the Giants organization. Like, Eli did everything for them. Well, yeah, but they're also saying, hey, we're going to give you a shot and see if you can start a career here in New York where you couldn't start it there. So that's not the way it's being played in the media. That's maybe not the way they're thinking about it, but it kind of really is because they're saying Geno Smith could be our guy for the next 5 or 6 years while we build Davis Webb 4 years like Green Bay did with Brett Favre and let A-Rod sit on the bench for 4 years. Maybe that's what they're thinking. I mean, you're not going anywhere with Eli. Put him on the bench. I don't hate it. I think it's smart. Okay. See what you got. As far as the game goes,
who you playing?
With Geno, 2 QB league, I'm fine putting him out there. Oakland defense sucks. This game's going to be terrible, though, because other than Evan Ingram and Jared Cook, you have nobody catching passes. No Crabtree. No Cooper. The Giants receivers are gone. You're going to have tight ends and a bunch of crappy running backs. Like, this game's going to suck. People are going to watch it because they want to see how Geno does. And I guarantee you, if Geno has a good game, Giants fans are going to be like, oh, Geno, right?
Yeah.
You know that's what's going to happen.
Good point, man.
You know it.
Yeah, it's interesting, yeah. All right, so we're not going pretty much anybody on this
game. I'm a Giants hater, and I'm rooting for Geno Smith to have a good game.
All right, interesting.
Because,
let's see what happens.
I mean, it's you got to look at the other side of the story. There's one side, sure, it's sad they're benching Eli, but the other side is like this guy's getting one last shot. This is his one last shot to be an NFL starting quarterback.
Dude, being a Jets fan, I mean, Geno is my guy. Getting Brendan Marshall, having Decker. I mean, I thought he was going to be the great our starter. I mean, Fitzpatrick obviously kept the job, but I had a lot of faith in Geno. I thought he could actually do it, man. So I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm happy that he gets the opportunity. And you know what I do think? I also think that was noble of the Giants organization to give him it and not Davis Webb.
Good point.
saying to Gino, we will let you get the first crack at it. Win it or lose it.
Yeah. And you're right. I think giving them more than 1 week. You have to give them at least 2 weeks kind of deal.
At least 2 weeks. You give them the crappy Oakland defense and whoever they play next week. And if he can't produce, then you turn to Davis Webb the last 3 weeks of the season.
Gotcha. All right, let's go on to the next one, man. Carolina at the New Orleans Saints. Carolina beat my Jets last week. Wasn't pretty. Olsen got hurt. That makes me very, very nervous. I have kept Olsen on my bench the entire year. I was super excited to start him. Saw he hurt his foot. Suppose he didn't practice today, but it's okay. I don't know what that means, so I had to make a move. And New Orleans, man, Kamara is the absolute truth. That running game over there, Breeze doesn't really need to do anything anymore. He's going to save them when he needs to save them, but if they can keep on running the way they do, why? Yeah, that's all they need to do. I think it hurts Michael Thomas. It hurts your receivers over there. Talk to me.
What did I say week 1 about Kamara, man? I tried telling people, and he's lived up to every single second of it. I think this game's going to be pretty high scoring. I really don't know how Carolina's going to score, but they're going to. I think a little bit it's going to be their defense. Their defense has just been playing outstanding since Kuechly came back from that concussion. Cam's my number 1 QB for the week. I think he scores a rushing touchdown and has 2 passing touchdowns. Who he throws them to, I have no clue. Because Funch is a little banged up. Olsen's banged up. McCaffrey's banged up. They said McCaffrey's got a shoulder injury, didn't practice today or was limited. So I have no clue who's going to score the 2 passing touchdowns. But I think Cam gets 3 total TDs this week. I think he gets about 90 rushing yards and throws for well over 250. He's my number 1 QB for the week. And on the flip side, Breeze, I think he's going to have to throw a little bit more often this game. But the passes could be to Kamara and Ingram and maybe not Mike Thomas, like you said. I think Ted Ginn probably gets loose again this week.
Ted Ginn didn't really have a game until the end of almost at the end of the game is where he got his points.
Yeah.
That made me nervous, man. I was like, all right, Ted Ginn, I was going against him. I'm like, all right, he's not doing anything. And all of a sudden, I'm like, that's 2 points, 1.5, 3 points. I'm like, what is happening here?
But I'll play Thomas. You're obviously going to play the Saints running backs. Ted Ginn would be like a wide receiver 5 for me, maybe a 4 dart throw. But I absolutely love Cam Newton in this one. And I love McCaffrey too if he plays. You got to see if he practices tomorrow in full.
All right. Next one.
I'd be scared of Olsen.
I'm scared of Olsen. That's why I had to make a move. And my move we'll talk about right now. Because the next game that's on my list is Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals won last week. They got a lot of production from
RSJ, Ricky Seals-Jones.
RSJ, the guy that I picked up. I took your advice, man. I honestly think this kid's pretty good, man. Gabbert likes him a lot.
He loves him. And he's a really good pickup in Dynasty. You know why? Because Gabbert's probably going to be the starter next year.
Ooh, good point. He's been playing well, man.
You said that. Yeah. You said that. Gabbert will be the 2018 starter more than likely.
Very nice. Then the Rams. You continue playing everybody. Watkins had a pretty good game. Woods is doubtful again this week. So let's talk about what you're thinking there.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so Ricky Seals-Jones, I'm driving in my car 2 weeks ago, and I just hear, like, oh, and the touchdown goes to Ricky Seals-Jones. They're like, who is that? And they're like, oh, Ricky Seals-Jones got a second touchdown. And, like, I'm like, oh, my God, people are going to run to the waiver wire and pick this bum up. He'll never see the field again. And then last week, he does the same thing, but actually plays almost 3 times as many catches twice as many balls for more than double the yards, still gets a touchdown. And I think to myself, well, it's still kind of nothing. And then, I don't know what it was. I woke up like yesterday morning, and like I just typed his name into Google, and I just wanted to read about him, see like who the heck is this guy? And I had heard earlier that he was a wide receiver that sort of turned into a tight end. He was a 5-star recruit. He was one of the top high school recruits. And there was something I read where somebody was even going to give him a signing bonus to go to their college. Wow. And he was like, didn't want, he's like, I don't want any part of this, type of thing. So he ended up going to wherever he went to. I can't remember. Was it Texas A&M? Does that sound right? I'm not sure.
Look it up.
Yeah, but what happened was he ended up getting hurt a little bit. He was a little bit of a head case. He kind of slowed down in his speed. He wasn't running routes as quickly. And he kind of just fell out of favor. And he graduated or whatever, and he got drafted this year. And nobody really knew who he was because his college career just wasn't that good. And his draft report said things like, if he couldn't run the routes smooth enough and fast enough at a college level, he's never going to be able to do it as a pro. Well, I mean, he's huge. He's a wide receiver. He's Marcus Colston is who he is. If you remember, Marcus Colston was a wide receiver who played tight end, and then he went back to wide receiver because the Saints needed a wide receiver. So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. And I started to look at him, and I watched the tape that I heard when I was in the car that day because I was driving, which I hate having to be not home watching football. But
I was going to joke on you on that one, but I didn't want to say anything out loud. So,
what were you going to say?
About why are you listening to football in the car instead of watching the game?
I was driving from somewhere for something. And for no reason. Oh, that's why I was driving back from Bose. Is what I was doing.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, anyway, that sucks having to work Sundays, but whatever. So then I started warming up. I'm like, okay, this he's got the skills, he's got the talent. Now he's getting the playing time. I'm gonna roll with him. I picked him up in a couple leagues. Told you to pick him up. Told another guy, Scott Cantrell, I'll give you a shout out on here. He's been talking to me back and forth on Facebook. Told him to pick him up. And I'm going to roll with him in DFS. He's like a $4,000 tight end, $3,500. He's still really cheap. Screw it. Throw him out there.
Why not?
You know what I mean? Yeah. The matchup's not terrible. I mean, the Rams cover the tight end pretty well, but I would think they're still going to focus mostly on Fitz and not getting burned by not only the Brown brothers, but JJ, and now they got Chad Williams out there as well. So, I mean, they're going 5 deep at wide receiver and RSJ, and Gabbard's been playing pretty well. They worked out a couple extra running backs this week with some fresh legs. So I think that they're sort of gearing up for this high-paced Rams offense. And you know what? If the Rams do what the Rams do and run all over this Cardinal defense, it just means, more volume for Ricky Seals-Jones. So he's my sneak of the week. He's not really that sneaky because people now know about him, but some people are still doubting him, and I've warmed up to him, and I'm going to throw him in my last possible chance to make him my tight end sneak of the week.
Dun, 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 dun,
and as far as the Rams go, Kupp finally came through, and I'm going to roll with Kupp again. Woods is actually questionable, but he ain't going to play.
No, I saw an update that he was doubtful now.
Yeah, maybe in the last few hours he went from questionable to doubtful. But anyway, he ain't going to play. It's going to be Kupp. Probably could throw a dart at Josh Reynolds again. I almost picked him up in a Dynasty League last week before the game because I was thinking, who is their number 4 wide receiver? And I said, you know what? I'm not even going to waste it because as soon as Woods comes back and for the next 3 years, Josh Reynolds ain't going to be nothing.
Yeah, makes sense.
If Woods is healthy, Watkins is healthy,
Kupp's healthy. Yeah.
Todd Gurley, I like him in this one. And I'm going to play Goff. I'm playing Goff over Matt Ryan, and I'm playing Goff over Derek Carr.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, against the Cardinals defense, I can definitely see that working out pretty well for you.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next one there, sir. The birds will fly at night. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Seattle Seahawks. Cam Chancellor out for the remainder of the season now. That secondary is depleted. Philadelphia is best team in football, in my opinion. Move the ball to anybody and everybody. Ertz is back. Nelson is back. Jeffries is consistent. Jeffries questionable, though. And their running game, they can do everything. And Wentz is looking like, to me, he looks like an Aaron Rodgers type man. I don't know. He's good.
Yeah, I know. I wanted him to start the season all over the place.
Yeah, man. And Seattle, I mean, Russell Wilson, he has this team on his back, man, and he's really trying hard. Jimmy Graham, not a lot of targets, not a lot of yardage, but a touchdown every game, man. Let's talk about what you're thinking there, too.
Yeah, a guy asked me Mohamed Sanu or Doug Baldwin. And I said, you know what? I think Sanu is going to have a really good game because they're going to focus on stopping Julio, like I said earlier. But I'll roll with Doug Baldwin just because it's a Sunday night game. You always want to get your guys in on these night games, Sunday night, Monday night, because there's always some magic that happens with your stars. So I love Dougie in this one. Russell Wilson, I mean, he plays backyard, parking lot football. He just runs around and throws it to somebody that's open. He's your number one quarterback on most rankings things this week. Wentz is right there at 1A or 1B, 1A and 1B for these guys. I actually have to play the Philly defense this week and Russell Wilson. I hate doing that in fantasy, but I'm already locked into the number one seed, so I really don't even care.
Ooh.
But,
okay, sorry.
I don't mean to brag. But what I'm saying is, I feel like both of them could do well. I think that Wilson's probably going to make a mistake or two because that's what he usually does. And the Philly defense has just been playing ridiculous. So I feel like both of them are good plays. Because I want to say I love Russell Wilson this week. I love Baldwin. I love Richardson this week. I even like Lockett this week. But it's tough because you're playing against the Philly defense, who's top 5 in the league easily. But I just think the Philly offense, like you said, I keep waiting for them to stumble, and they're not. They're going to score points, which means Seattle's going to have to do what they've been doing best the past few weeks, and that's playing keep up. Yeah. They had to do it with Houston. Ever since that Houston game, they've been every single week they've had to be playing back and forth with teams that did versus Atlanta. So I think there's going to be one of those games where there's going to be a lot of points scored. There's going to be some defensive points. There's going to be some turnovers. So you're going to want your defenses, probably not the Seattle defense, but the Philly defense. I like just because Wentz doesn't make too many mistakes. Love Aguilar. Love Jeffrey, like you said. Can't sit Ertz. The running backs, who are you going to play? I saw somebody wanted to drop Kareem Hunt to pick up LeGarrette Blount. Wow. Like, what? LeGarrette Blount. Are you going to really? What? What? This is the type of thing, people see that, Blount had a pretty good game, I think, last week, so they're like, oh, he must be awesome. No.
Jay Ajayi's taking over slowly but surely, man.
Slowly but surely, yeah. And even if he doesn't, they have 4 running backs who all touch the ball. Yeah. 4. So, I mean, come on. Kareem Hunt is 1. And if you're going to look at 2, maybe West. And they only put West in when they're getting blown out. So.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great game, man. This is going to be an awesome Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this one. I will be home to watch this one.
Ooh, very nice. All right, let's go on to the last game, man. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. What I just said for Philly and Seattle, I honestly think this is going to be a really good game too, man. I love division matchups. Cincinnati is a different team at home, man, and I think that they can potentially stop this Pittsburgh's team that's on a roll. Everyone's playing real well. Everyone's loving each other again. This Cincy defense, I think, can be that team to be like, nah, sir, kind of deal. But let's talk about players. Who you playing? I think you're playing everybody on both teams.
Yeah, I kind of been saying, excuse me, all year long that Pittsburgh really isn't that good. I mean, they're good, but they're not really that good. They probably should have lost to Detroit a few weeks ago. They should have lost to Green Bay, which they had no business. Green Bay had no business even being in that game. And now they got to go into Cincinnati. I would not be surprised if Cincinnati won this game. I don't know if they will, but I wouldn't be surprised. And you know what? Antonio Brown struggles against Pac-Man, always. Pac-Man plays him really tough. I was looking at some stats for this, wondering about Antonio Brown this week. I think he is a little overpriced and overrated. I would be very wary of him this week. And I like A.J. Green. If somebody asked me A.J. Green or Antonio Brown this week, I'd go A.J. Green.
Okay.
Not even thinking about it. Just because the matchup's better. I keep waiting for Cincinnati to have a second wide receiver. It's just never going to happen. Tyler Boyd last week got a touchdown like the first drive of the game, and I'm like, oh, all right. He did nothing the whole rest of the game.
Yeah.
So it's Croft, it's Green, it's Mixon, and it's Bell, and you're probably going to see some Bryant again. And Big Ben on the road, man. He stinks.
If Juju plays, I can see a little Juju being mixed up in there as well.
Yeah.
But
if Juju plays,
I think that gives them the relief from the Brown that you're talking about. Because I can see what you're saying. Pac-Man does always play Brown well. Juju could be that guy that could make up for that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, if Juju plays, I would not feel safe with Antonio Brown. I think Chad's going to lose this week. I think I know the guy that's playing him.
He's going down, Chad.
Because he's got down, right?
He sure does.
Have a good week, man. You're going to beat him. You just need Poirier to lose. You got to sneak in. The only thing, you sneak in and you win, you're going to play me week 14, week 15.
Don't worry.
Then I'm not talking to you.
Great show. Well, it will be a silent show week 15.
I'm not talking. This is what I'm going to do. And then when the week's over, I'll come back. Unless you beat me, and then I'm going to do this again.
Oh, man. So let's see what happens, man. Yeah, I'm really hoping, man, for at least from my standpoint, this week 13 is very important to me just because I went from a 1-5 team in my biggest league to now 6-6 with a chance to make the playoffs. And the complete opposite. In my dynasty league, I went from 6-1 to now 6-6 trying to make the playoffs. So I have a tale of two cities. Zeke, if you're out there, hopefully you come back week 15, but you killed me, man. So
yeah.
That's it. You got anything else, man? I don't know how if you can see, but I took like 4 pages of notes today.
Nice.
So
you got anything over there you got to ask me or no?
That was really my big one was D.D. Westbrook. I like your thinking on that one as far as possibly over Dez. Somebody did bring to me as far as I mentioned to you as far as Croft. He has Brait right now. Not sure if he's going to get an uptick with Winston coming back. I know you're saying Mike Evans, your number one guy. So from a target standpoint, does that make sense for him? Or he had Croft available. He had Clay available. You said no Thomas on that one. But RSJ wasn't there. He was actually picked up in his league. So
Thomas might be okay now I'm thinking about it. But, I mean, see, Brait's just sucked. I feel like they're finally getting O.J. Howard more involved. So, I mean, there's only one guy that's really getting it, and that's Tyler Croft, I think.
He's the number 2, and it's a Monday night game. I mean, in the spotlight, I think it's completely different, man.
Yeah, you got to play Croft. Monday Night Magic. Let your buddy know.
All right. I definitely will let him know. Guess, thank you very much, sir. Answers by guess, guys.
Yeah, good luck, everybody. Hopefully you're watching us next week from a playoff position.
Oh, yeah. Happy fantasy, guys.
Thanks.